In the quiet, sun-dappled studio of the Architecture and Design Department at her university in Lagos, Rita Eboli was a vision of focused intent. To her classmates and lecturers, she was the girl who saw the world in swatches of velvet, mid-century modern silhouettes, and the perfect placement of a lighting fixture. At 20 years old, Rita was the quintessential beauty and brains. Her skin was a rich, flawless mahogany that seemed to glow from within, her eyes were sharp with intelligence, and her grades in her Bachelor's of Interior Design program were consistently at the top of the dean's list. She came from a comfortable middle-class home. Her father was a retired civil servant and her mother ran a successful catering business. Life was predictable, grounded, and promising. One humid Tuesday afternoon, while taking a break from a grueling technical drawing project, Rita decided to join a trending TikTok challenge. It was a simple video, filmed in the corner of her dorm room. Wearing a simple pair of high-waisted jeans and a cropped t-shirt, she danced with a fluid, natural grace that eventually culminated in a playful, skillful twerk. She laughed at the end, her white teeth flashing against her dark skin, and hit post before returning to her sketches of a minimalist living room. She went to sleep that night as a student. She woke up as a phenomenon. The notifications on her phone didn't just buzz, they screamed. By noon the next day, the video had crossed 5 million views. By the end of the week, the number was a staggering 66 million. It was the Eboli sway, as the internet dubbed it. Her friends, Daniel and Mercy, burst into her room on Saturday morning, eyes wide and phones held out like holy relics. "Rita, do you even know what is happening?" Mercy screamed, her voice trembling with excitement. "You're everywhere. 66 million views. Rita. The world is watching you." Daniel, always the more pragmatic of the two, showed her the comment section. There were thousands of marriage proposals, tags from international music producers, and a flood of blue checkmarked accounts following her. "You aren't just a student anymore," Daniel said softly. "You're a brand." The transformation happened with the speed of a lightning strike. Within a month, the interior design textbooks were gathering dust. Radio stations, captivated by the viral video and then stunned by the melodic, honeyed tone of her speaking voice, began calling. They didn't just want an interview. They wanted her as a host. Acting offers poured in from Nollywood and reality TV producers who saw her as the perfect it girl to anchor a new show. The transition from Rita Eboli, student, to Rita the Star, was complete. Wealth followed fame like a shadow. The endorsement deals for hair, makeup, and fashion brands were worth more than her father's entire pension. Rita didn't hesitate. She bought her mother a sprawling mansion in a leafy Lagos suburb, moving her out of their modest family home. She enrolled her two younger siblings in the most prestigious private high schools in the country, ensuring their futures were paved with gold. But as the money grew, her interest in school waned. "Why am I drawing floor plans for 50,000 naira projects when I can make 5 million for a 30-minute club appearance?" she argued when her mother pleaded with her to finish her degree. Rita dropped out in her third year, choosing the glitter of the spotlight over the grit of the studio. Daniel and Mercy became her managers, staying by her side to navigate the shark-infested waters of the entertainment industry. They were loyal, and though Rita paid them handsomely, enough to keep them in luxury while they finished their own degrees, they tried to keep her grounded. But the world Rita now inhabited was one of first-class flights to Dubai, Paris, and Los Angeles. It was a world of Hermes Birkin bags, custom-made Italian sports cars, and a constant, thrumming pressure to remain relevant. It was during a trip to Los Angeles that the seeds of discontent were sown. Rita found herself at a private party surrounded by international icons. She looked at them, women whose bodies seemed carved by divine chisels. They spoke openly about the refreshers and sculpting. To them, a body was like a house. If you didn't like the layout, you renovated. Rita, who had been praised her whole life for her natural beauty, suddenly felt unfinished. The epitome of beauty began to look in the mirror and see flaws where there were none. She saw the way the cameras loved the exaggerated curves of the Hollywood elite, and she wanted that same magnetic pull. "I need to elevate," she told Mercy one night in a hotel suite in Beverly Hills. "The brands love the face, but the world wants the body. I'm going to Turkey for a BBL." Mercy froze, a silk robe halfway off her shoulders. "Rita, you are literally perfect. People pay doctors to get your natural shape. Why would you go under the knife? It's not about being perfect anymore, Mercy," Rita snapped, her voice cold. "It's about being a star. Stars are made, not just born." Against the protests of Daniel and her mother, who wept on the phone, Rita flew to Istanbul. The Brazilian butt lift was successful, and the recovery was documented for her millions of followers. The controversy only fueled her fame. Her engagement numbers skyrocketed. "If they're talking, they're watching," she told herself. But the BBL was a gateway. Once she had the curves, she felt her chest looked small in comparison. A breast augmentation followed. Then, she decided her waist wasn't snatched enough, leading to a tummy tuck. Each surgery brought more deals, more club appearances, and higher appearance fees. She was the most sought-after socialite in West Africa. But the girl who once studied the balance of light and space in a room was now obsessing over the balance of filler in her lips and the bridge of her nose. Her face began to change, taking on the standardized, Instagram face that stripped away her unique Nigerian heritage in favor of a globalized, plastic aesthetic. She was Rita the Star, but the light was starting to look artificial. By her 21st birthday, Rita Eboli was unrecognizable from the girl who had posted that first dance video. She was a walking masterpiece of surgical precision, curvy, sculpted, and perpetually filtered. She was a philanthropist, donating millions to orphanages and schools, a gesture that kept her in the public's good graces despite the growing chorus of fans who begged her to stop changing her appearance. "You were a goddess before," one fan commented. "Now you're just a doll." But the pressure of the digital age is a hungry beast. It always wants more. Rita began to look at her skin. In the bright lights of the film sets and the flashbulbs of the paparazzi, she began to imagine that a lighter complexion would make her pop more. She saw how certain international brands favored a specific, lighter aesthetic. The whisper of colorism in the industry became a roar in her own head. "I want to brighten my skin," she announced during a meeting with Daniel and Mercy. The silence in the room was deafening. Daniel dropped his iPad. "Rita, no. That is where we draw the line. Your skin is your power. It's beautiful. It's African. You want to bleach it away." "I'm not bleaching," Rita defended, her voice rising. "I'm brightening. There are high-end dermatologists who do this. It's a luxury procedure. It's about being spotless. When she called her mother to tell her, the woman didn't cry this time. She spoke with a terrifying, calm fury. Rita, if you change the skin I gave you, the skin your ancestors gave you, then you are no longer my daughter. If you want to be white, go and find an American mother. Do not come back to this house with a face I do not recognize. Rita hung up, her heart stinging, but the addiction to betterment was too strong. She felt that if she just reached this final level of aesthetic perfection, the anxiety would stop. She searched for the most expensive, most exclusive treatments. She found a practitioner through a friend of a friend in the celebrity circle, a woman who claimed to have a proprietary cream used by the biggest stars in the world. It wasn't a cheap drugstore bleach. It was a melanin-suppressing elixir, worth millions of naira. She began the regimen in secret. For the first few weeks, the results were exactly what she had hoped for. Her rich brown skin faded into a pale, creamy porcelain. She posted a photo on Instagram with the caption, "New Era." Luminous. The internet exploded. "Rita the Star goes white" became the headline of every blog. The controversy was the biggest of her career. Some fans cheered her transformation, while others mourned the loss of the girl who had inspired so many dark-skinned young women. Rita ignored the noise. She felt powerful. She felt elite. Then, the itching started. At first, it was a minor annoyance, a tingling beneath the surface of her skin. She assumed it was the active ingredients working their magic. But within a week, the tingling turned into a burning sensation that felt like needles being driven into her pores. One morning, she woke up and looked in her gilded vanity mirror. She didn't see a porcelain doll. She saw a horror. Deep red marks, like angry welts, had erupted across her cheeks and neck. Small, fluid-filled blisters were forming on her arms. When she tried to apply her usual expensive makeup to cover it, the skin simply peeled away, raw and weeping. Panicked, she called Daniel, who rushed her to a top-tier dermatologist in Lagos, not the celebrity practitioners she had been seeing, but a medical doctor. After a series of tests, the doctor sat her down, his face grim. "The cream you used," the doctor began, "contained a cocktail of high-potency steroids, mercury, and a banned industrial-grade hydroquinone. It hasn't just changed your color, Rita. It has thinned your skin to the point of atrophy. It has entered your bloodstream. You have developed a severe form of exogenous ochronosis and systemic toxicity. Your skin's immune system is collapsing." Rita stared at him, her vision blurring with tears. "How long to fix it? I have a red carpet event in 2 weeks." The doctor looked at her with pity. "Fix it, Rita. We are talking about years of treatment just to manage the pain and stop the infections. Your skin may never return to its original state. The damage is deep, and the scarring, it will likely be permanent." The fall was faster than the rise. Rita had to cancel all her appearances. The spotless star was now forced to live in the shadows of her mansion, draped in bandages and heavy clothing to hide the blisters and the darkening, mottled patches of damaged tissue. The brands, which had once fought over her, vanished overnight. In the world of the aesthetic, there is no room for the broken. Daniel and Mercy stayed, not as managers, but as the friends they had always been. They watched as the girl who once dreamt of designing beautiful spaces now lived in a beautiful space she couldn't stand to be seen in. The wealth remained, for now, but the star had been extinguished by the very light she tried to capture. Months later, a single photo surfaced on a gossip blog. It was a grainy shot of Rita entering a clinic, her face partially obscured by a scarf, but the visible skin was scarred and uneven. The comments were no longer marriage proposals. They were lessons. She was so beautiful, one wrote. Why wasn't she enough for herself? Rita Eboli, once the epitome of beauty and brains, became a ghost story for the modern generation. Her story serves as a haunting reminder that in the chase for a manufactured perfection, one can lose the very essence of who they are. The girl who could have designed the world's most beautiful homes forgot to protect the only home she truly owned, her own skin.